What's going on, YouTube? What's up? What's up? What's up? Derek Jones Talks Live. This is impromptu Saturday afternoon live stream where I will be addressing a few issues today. First up, slavery lies. We're going to get into that. Secondly, excuse me, we're going to go into a Q&A I had with Sabir Bey. I was only able to do this through a live stream that he did because apparently Sabir Bey wants you to give him money to talk to him. So we're going to go into that a little bit as well. I didn't know that about you, Sabir Bey, until last night. I guess I found out. Also on the agenda is apparently someone's page got flagged down last night. Some of you know him as A-Kev, some by other titles. But we want to know, we're just asking a question here. We want to know what happened, man. Was it YouTube or was it McDonald's? Did McDonald's find out that somebody was streaming off their customer-friendly Wi-Fi service? People creating whole YouTube shows off of their customer-friendly Wi-Fi. I don't know. This is just a question that I'm asking. I'm not pointing this directly at anyone per se. So yeah, we're gonna go in. I wasn't able to share the video because I got behind in what I was trying to do. So when I was putting this together and all, so you guys gotta bear with me. But before we do, I'd like to play a little audio from Idris Alba, who is also banging on Polite. We will be editing this title of this video.
To warn people about fake celebrity accounts. The way social media is set up, people can set up profiles and pretend to be whoever they want. And what's happening as a result is that people are faking celebrities, public figures, and asking for money and getting that money. And they're getting that money from people that are working hard, that like a certain public figure and want to support whatever they're supporting and getting ripped off. Breaks my heart, man, because my name's been brought into this so many times. And I would hope that people were smarter than that. But it happens. So just be really, really careful. Do not use social media to make money transactions to nobody. To nobody. If the public figure wants to raise money, all right, there are verified ways to do that. That's the guidelines, bottom line. If it's some Joe Schmo with a picture of the celebrity in it and it's not verified.
Sounds like the Sinetta Award show. He said, don't give money to anyone that's all over YouTube and social media asking you for your money. Why did he say that? Because he also said people want to donate to their causes. People see what other people are doing and know that they probably can't do it in their neck of the woods. So what they do is address the situation through helping someone else who is addressing the situation. That's how things happen. But the reason I called you guys in here today is because I wanted to do a video that I had seen. It was a few days ago, I think, or it could have been yesterday. But I've seen a lot of the brothers' videos, and I watched them, and I enjoyed them, especially in my downtime when I'm just relaxing or something. I'll really listen to a lot of his videos because they're like nostalgic, you know, things that I've learned, and then some things that I pick up, you know, new. So I'm just gonna play this video, and before I do, I'm gonna preface it by saying this: when you see my screen, it clearly says "Slavery Lies." I never deny the actual events that took place that we call slavery, like the basically being captive on farms and forced to work, being used sexually in ways that have yet to be even talked about for real, especially with the homosexuality from European men. So it's like dealing with all of that. It's a bigger picture than what we've been told. And not only do I believe it's a bigger picture than what we've been told, I also come to the conclusion that there could be nothing but a bigger picture. Like, why would the people who are the culprits of most of this homicidal, fucking maniacal, fucking murderous behavior, the lies, the deceptive, just overall deception and everything that they produce? Why would they tell me the truth about anything? If they tell me that a map is a certain way, why should I believe it? If they tell me this country is bigger than this country, I haven't fucking measured these countries. Why should I trust the people who fucking say what it is? Because they're sanctioned by these people. They're not, when you deal with like the DNA people, when they start going over your DNA, listen, man, none of that, all of that stuff everyone has a boss. So we need to find out who the boss is, because that person is going to be telling in this whole situation. And every time we come around this shit, it's the same thing. You have the same group of people running shit. When you look at who runs BET, the same group of people who you would not think should be running BET. When you look at Boyce Watkins, people who you wouldn't think are running Boyce Watkins are running Boyce Watkins. So I say all that to say what? I say all that to say the history that we get from these people, man, I don't accept any of it because they're already proven to be liars. So before I play the video again, I want to welcome everybody here. Triple C TV, God Snapella, L Boogie, Rising Star, what up, Wax, Melanated Agendas in here, and many more. Everybody, if I miss you, I know you're in here. So let's get ready to go in. Today's live stream will be about slavery lies. It will be about Sabir Bey Q&A that I had with him last night through his chat, via his chat. And Gillz' page. Was it YouTube or Mickey D's that is taking down the McDevastated over there? We will go into it today. So again, welcome to Derek Jones Talks Live. I guess we can go in.
Long gone.
And the video was found at Dane Calloway on YouTube. Please subscribe.
I knew nothing about the American Indian, and that everything we are taught about the American Indian is wrong. It's inaccurate. And our school books are hopelessly lacking, perhaps criminally lacking, in revealing what our relationship was with the Indian.
I'm tired. I'm really, really tired of manipulation.
Also, what we've learned about the Indians has been largely taught to us by Hollywood and by motion pictures. They have educated us. They have educated us. Indians have been tragically misrepresented in films and in our history books, in our attitudes, in our reporting. So we must set about to re-educate ourselves. So we must set about to re-educate ourselves. So we must set about to re-educate ourselves. So we must set about to re-educate ourselves.
They create a history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. The history books are lying. The history books are lying. You need to know that. You must know that.
When third world countries are misrepresented, they're likely to be valued less. When Mercator maps exaggerate the importance of Western civilization, when the top of the map is given to the Northern Hemisphere, and the bottom is given to the Southern, then people will tend to adopt top and bottom attitudes.
When we hear, as we've heard throughout all our lives, no matter how old we are, that we are a country that stands for freedom.
And just for a point of clarification, this society, everyone here looks at it as and not everyone, of course, you know what I mean. Most people here look at this in a top-bottom situation, and they usually base that off of money. If they have more money than you, they feel that they're on top of you.
For rightness, for justice, for everyone. It simply doesn't apply to those who are not white. It just simply doesn't apply. And we were the most rapacious, aggressive, destructive, torturing, monstrous people.
Now, this is Marlon Brando speaking about himself and his own people. This is Marlon Brando speaking.
In our reporting. So we must set about to re-educate ourselves. So we must set about to re-educate ourselves. So we must set about to re-educate ourselves. So we must set about to re-educate ourselves.
They create a history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. The history books are lying. The history books are lying. You need to know that. You must know that.
When third world countries are misrepresented, they're likely to be valued less. When Mercator maps exaggerate the importance of Western civilization, when the top of the map is given to the Northern Hemisphere, and the bottom is given to the Southern, then people will tend to adopt top and bottom attitudes.
When we hear, as we've heard throughout all our lives, no matter how old we are, that we are a country that stands for freedom, for rightness, for justice, for everyone. It simply doesn't apply to those who are not white. It just simply doesn't apply. And we were the most rapacious, aggressive, destructive, torturing, monstrous people who swept from one coast to the other, murdering and causing mayhem among the Indians. When we say, especially, that we are going to keep our treaties and that we do keep our word and that we, above all people, do keep our word, I think it's important to mention that there have been nearly 400 treaties written by the United States in good faith with the Indians, and every single one of them was abrogated.
There have been over 400 treaties written with the indigenous people of this hemisphere, of this land that we call Americans. And all of them, nearly all of them, have been ignored, violated. So I want you guys to keep that in mind when we move on to the Sabir Bay Q&A part. That is not that what is being said is inaccurate. It's about us having treaties with these people or people who look like us calling themselves Moors or being called Moors, having treaties with these people. None of that is really in question when it comes to me. But the importance of it now, how can it be used? It's ineffective.
Means broken or changed altogether.
Okay, everyone. Now, in this particular segment, I will be covering many details that is, of course, very essential to all Americans, and especially to those who are the direct descendants of the indigenous Aboriginal Niji of this land, now called North America. And before I go any further, allow me to acknowledge that I do totally understand that many of you may have heard either very little to no detail at all concerning this information that I'm about to present to you, merely due to the fact that you were lied to, like millions of others, no matter if they share the same hue of complexion with you or not. In many of my previous documentaries, I've shared various detailed information that was hidden to the public as to why multiple different things were purposely told to you in reverse, which leads me to my very first point of this segment, and that is, why was history told to you in reverse? Now, this question alone will be continuously answered throughout this particular segment and also throughout nearly all of my content that I present to the public. Reason being is due to how history is depicted in today's society of America, because history today is now known as what is documented from the past, but the problem resides in what was considered to be history in the past, simply because history in the past was literally what a sole individual made it to be. Exactly. Now, this generation of people would inadvertently believe.
And I want everybody to pay attention to that part. Like, people think history is so, like, I read this book in, like, dog, at some point, all these people were getting their information from certain people. Like, if you go into Greek and Roman history, Tacitus was a world-renowned historian in their culture. But most of Tacitus's work came from Herodotus. Like, that's where he got that shit from. He was, because Herodotus came before him and he was studying his work. So it's like, these people are getting this shit from somewhere. And it generally goes back to another person. So ultimately, you have to accept what this person is telling you. That's why I told you guys, like, my reading as far as book goes has been halted dramatically in the last 6 years of my life, 5 to 6 years almost. It's like, because I've become totally jaded with it, unless I'm just reading other things that I like to read. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about as far as history though, it's ultimately, man, this is just somebody's fucking opinion because I don't know. I can't verify that shit. And I know they probably didn't. And if they did verify it, they verified it through means of reading other people's shit.
That's how history should be. And I agree with you. However, I would add that generational past history differs from, say, for example, like LeBron James making history in one of his past championship games. Why? Well, merely due to how generational past history is formatted, in which it would teach generations of people a fictitious story of unforeseen information, a one-directional, or rather one-sided story told by a particular group of people in order to establish and maintain a deceitful hidden agenda.
And they're able to do that because every time they control the educational purpose, the educational passages. For you to go through a certain path or passage to learn some shit, you're going through their tubes. They set these tubes for you to go through that path and for it to come out at this point. It's only certain of us who, of course, are able to see between shit, read between the lines, able to identify that I cannot accept everything that I read because ultimately it's just something that I'm reading. It still requires a lot more than my eyes reading it and taking it in for it to be a fact, especially a proven fact.
Propaganda that will manipulate its readers or listeners into a system of theology indoctrination. In other words, these particular individuals that provided this information told.
Hey, yo, before we move on, listen, dude, you can save that for the last part of the show when we start having fun, when we start trying to discover whether Kev Gill's page was taken down by YouTube or McDonald's. But as of right now, yo, could you chill in my chat with all of that? Everything comes from Amor, because that's just what I mean right there. Like making statements that are not rooted in fact. If, you know, they're not rooted in fact. You don't have any facts to back up that everything somebody's learning is from Amor. Just because someone shares a small bit of information about something. Exact. What does that mean? What does that mean? Exactly. Thank you, Snapella. Why do you keep saying that? That's why I think you some sort of little Sotomayor agent. I was gonna let you live. Now I'm about to kick your ass out of here. The fuck? Like, stop coming through here with your Sotomayor shit, yo. Oh, that's Amor. I don't give a fuck if it was a fucking Muslim, nigga. I don't give a fuck if it was a fucking Chinaman and he was spreading some real shit. I don't give a fuck. Why do you keep saying that? Get your fucking ass out of here, man, with that stupid shit. And what is Amor? I keep telling you, there's no such thing as Amor. Because there's nothing in history where these people said, we the Moors. Let's continue.
You what they wanted to tell you, no
Just
matter
like
if
the
it was
Moors
based on any truths, facts, or their own opinions. It is called the illusion of power, whereas this illusion is that one group of people are somehow superior to others. What is also important to note here is that there are multiple different entities that are man-made, and history is one of them, along with various types of science, technology, and even many forms of religion. All of these social engineering experiments were cultivated by the same exact one set group of people that I mentioned earlier in order to compel the masses into adopting it. The ideology alone of their manipulative theoretical motives programs an individual to become prone with limits to their literacy and critical thinking capabilities. Not only were these same tactics utilized in the past, but these detrimental effects are currently being depicted as the norm in today's society. This form of role reversal began with Charles Darwin and his followers when they began to promote and teach the theory of evolution during the 1800s. As you may know, the theory of evolution is a scientific method in which Charles Darwin states the process of natural selection and pseudoscientific, blatantly racist information that he cultivated in relation to the world's population. Now, why would he do this? Well, it's definitely not about whether man came from monkeys, as society would love to point to you, so you can argue about this fictitious theory whenever it's brought up. No, it's more about the different traits of the human population, how different traits confer different rates of survival and reproduction, and also how these traits can be passed down from generation to generation. Now, you might be asking, so what does this have to do with our history being told to us in reverse? And my answer to that is everything. Because Charles Darwin created this theory of evolution, not because of the apes, but because he was a part of it. In other words, Charles Darwin's pseudoscientific theory was used to manipulate people into believing that they evolved from apes. But in all actuality, he was endeavoring to figure out where his species of people came from.
Exactly. Which I say all the time about history itself. When I learn history, it took me till I got to my teenage years, late teenage years, early 20s to realize that when I was learning history, I was learning history according to Europeans. But throughout the whole time of going through it, I thought I was learning history, period. And as a point of clarification, the information that are provided out here in the last decade or so, and even longer, the information that's been provided by, let's say, Hebrew Israelites, is not always coming from a Hebrew Israelite. That's something they learned. No different than any brother out here who calls themselves Moors. They provide lots of books and information that are not written by people who are called Moors.
This module will go on to formulate how this particular group of collective offspring will be able to continue forward in successive generations as the, quote, survival of the fittest. See, you have to understand where Europe is located. Before it was called Europe, that particular landmass was and still is a part of Africa. And all of this correlates with some of the many things that were told to you in reverse. Like, for example, the out of Africa theory. Now, keep in mind that I just explained to you the hidden details behind Charles Darwin's theory. And just like his theory of evolution, the entire out of Africa theory is merely nothing but an indoctrinated form of manipulative pseudo-storytelling that was cultivated by the likes of a self-proclaimed prominent but yet fictitious bigoted scientist named Melville Jean Herskovits.
Now, one of the reasons that that part of this whole video was important to me is because a point that I've been making for a long time when it comes to slavery in this whole out of Africa thing. First off, these people wrote history. They rewrote the Bible. They rewrote damn near everything, the Quran, etc. I don't believe that anything is some sacred, untouched text. Okay? Because when people start doing the things that they do, there is no limit to where they would go. There is no stopping point. So therefore, if there's no stopping point, why would I assume that this is pure? So when we start talking about this and talking about this out of Africa thing, you have to use common sense, reason, and logic. You have to say to yourself, what's the point of it? What was the point of it? The number one point of it was money. They were making money. Okay? They were doing this shit to make money. So if they're doing this shit to make money, how the fuck could they just be throwing over their money at whim? Oh, you stupid nigger, you're so black and nappy-headed. Let me throw you over the fucking boat. Because that's how much I don't give a fuck about you. I'm going to just throw you in the river, in a boat. So much that the sharks learned how to adapt and follow the boats. And now we got people out here who were tracking the sharks. None of that shit is verifiable. I'm not saying that it's not true. So if anyone wants to say that I'm saying it's not true, you're wrong, because I just said I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it doesn't make sense to me. Because no one can actually prove that shit, because no one was out there in the water really tracking the sharks. Let me tag this shark. Yeah, this shark was really over here hunting, and now all of a sudden, since black people have been transatlantically enslaved, now the patterns of the sharks we can chart, right? No one has that evidence. But that's a story that's constantly told. It kind of made sense that, yeah, The boats is out there going, people getting thrown off and shit. Hey, that's an easy fucking meal. So it does make sense. But the fact that, to me, the fact that is not verifiable, I can't just include it as some sort of foregone conclusion. In fact, especially dealing with the source. This is what people don't, this is me, the source. I want to know where that shit come from. As far back as I could possibly trace, where did this fucking particular piece of information come from? Because that is the key to everything. Once you find out where it came from, the source. Like the fucking Matrix, Neo and them. It's the source. You weren't there. We can't know. So it's like, and then and logic makes me think like, hey, the slaves had to have been worth $1 million a piece. Because if you're gonna go track something, like you said you did, you tracked black people down in the woods and dragged them out, and then you got the other side that says that no, it was the kings who did it, and they soldiers rounded them up and took them and did all this and brought them and sold them to the Europeans at the docks and shit like that. Okay, whatever story people want to go with, because that's another, here we go again. Which one is it? Well, you're in the woods hunting us and they was taking us from our own land, or were you being hunted by your own people and sold? Like, which one is it? You got both sides. It's two stories. That's another one of those things with slavery, the two-story shit. You got to pick one that you're going to go with. Ultimately, you're guesstimating. You know what I mean? Like, we're guesstimating, not you, and I don't mean to say you, like we're guesstimating. So dealing with that, I always say they got to be worth $1 million a piece, man. Because there's no way in hell, if I'm doing something which my number one goal is to make money, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to go to this island and I'm going to catch all these fuzzy little brown animals or gray animals. And then I'm going to put them all in a fucking cage on my fucking ship. And I'm going to take them back. And because some of them are squealing real loud and unruly, I'm going to take them out and just toss them shits over the goddamn water into the ocean. Now, if I keep doing that for everyone that pissed me off, and I'm not even going to, by the time I get to fucking America, I'm not even going to have half of my fucking cargo. So for me to do that, my cargo must be worth $1 million a piece. And I'm talking about $1 million in their time back then, nigga, which would have made all them niggas emperors. They could have bought whole armies and everything. There's no fucking way that story can come off that part. And most of us know that when we hear that story, that is part of the story. That was part of the story. That we were getting thrown off the boats. The half of us, how many of us heard a brother or a sister giving an interview, or especially when we was younger coming up, you know what I'm saying, when stuff was just coming out of black and white and shit, and we were seeing old shit, old speeches and shit, and brothers and the women and the men was like, how they would throw us into ships, and throw us off the ships, and less than half of us would even make it over here through sickness and being thrown off the ship. So how the fuck am I again, man? Them niggas must have been worth a fucking grip, G, for that shit to take place like that. And if they were, what imbecile would fucking throw away his product? If I'm going to go capture these wild animals, as I guess we were called, or how we say that we were called. If I'm going to catch these wild animals, I know that some of them are unruly, so I would already have some sort of plan in place. I know damn well I'm not about to catch you, put you on my ship, and you so dangerous that I'm gonna have to throw you in the fucking water. I'm not even gonna bring you in the first place. I'm gonna be like, this nigga moving too much. Nigga, he's been in the pen for 3 days now before we get ready to sail, and this motherfucker's still hopping around like, nah, just let him back out, yo. Just open the pen and let him run back out in the woods. Why the fuck would I take you out there on the ocean and you get loose in one of the pens on a boat and we in the middle of the fucking ocean? Now me and my crew got to fight. It just doesn't make sense. And not to mention the source. The source. Where it comes from, the fucking source.
An anthropologist of the early 1900s, Melville is solely responsible for expanding the lies of storytelling, in which in turn it was later considered to be American history. By completely reversing the records of historic information.
That's why right now, when Europeans talk about Billy the Kid, most of the historical evidence that they had to start going off of was fucking cartoons about him. They had to go off of fucking drawings about him and cartoons and half of a newspaper article as historical facts about this person, who he was, this and the third, because documented history wasn't just like that.
And also creating a fictional story about African slaves immigrating to the Americas by way of the Spaniards during the 1500s. This story was later known as the Middle Passage. However, prior to Melville's fictional story, no information existed in history that clearly mentioned that the so-called Negroes of the American lands came from Africa. For example, according to an English immigrant by the name of Noah Webster, who was the author of the Webster's English Language Dictionaries, the year 1828's definition of American is, quote, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born.
And that is the person who wrote the dictionary that we use the same terms from and actually apply the meanings that we do for. This is the guy. This is the guy. And the crazy part about it was I had an old dictionary. It wasn't from the 1821, but it was like 1900 and something. It was old and it was thick. And it was like the definitions of it in it were completely different than what we read now and what we have now. They were much more in depth. Like, for instance, when you it was like Bible names or terms and shit like that. Like, it didn't give you like a definition now. If I look up the word Joshua, you know what I'm saying? It would tell me whatever from the Bible and blah, blah, blah. No, in this book, it went directly to what it broke down the Hebrew meaning of the word, what it meant, and that was it. That was it. It wasn't, it's not, it was, they're very literal. They were very literal as to what people thought back then. And those old dictionaries referred to basically us as being here. This shit is fucking crazy. It's amazing. It's so fucking amazing. But that's why the video got to me and I wanted to share. This is information that I went over. I'm talking like 2003-ish. So we got to say 15 years ago. is when I started discovering this shit. It was very unnerving at the time, because it's like everything that you think is like, yo, why do you really think that? And then when you ask yourself that, you ultimately have to say, because somebody fucking basically led you down that path to think that way. You did not just start thinking that way.
In America, also, Melville allegedly tripped to somewhere in Africa, meaning that there is absolutely no records of this, just the story. Gathered up a few artifacts from there, observed a few tribes and a few cultures, and dubbed it as Africanism, then traveled to the US, wrote a book called The Myth of the Negro Past, and published it in 1942 in the fictional section, where he claimed that the people of color in America somehow lost connection with their cultural past during the Middle Passage from Africa to the Americas. See, the people like Melville and the US government, along with the US public school system, want you to believe that the lands of America were unoccupied prior to their arrivals. But the truth is that they were occupied by ancestors, and not these people that they are referring to as Native Americans right now. Our ancestors were not of pale skin, but only dark to light brown skin complexions.
The same way we look right now. That's why you can look all over America. I don't care whether they're in Brazil, Chile, Mexico, Georgia, Texas, Boston, Chicago, Detroit. It doesn't matter. You're going to see us. You're going to see brown, 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 lighter brown, mocha brown, copper light, all over. Because that's what we are. If you go to Africa, most of them niggas look the same. Though they look completely different, when I'm talking about their hue. It looks the same. There's no way in hell that I'm going to accept that these people got all of us over here. They're still lying about the census, talking about that we're a minority over here. Why would I believe anything else they're talking about?
Out of Africa theory, along with these fraudulent DNA tests from the 1900s, works hand in hand for one big reason. Because they were created by the same group of people that forced you to believe that you came from Africa, when in fact, millions of these Caucasians did not arrive to North America until the late 1700s. Hence the reason why the US Census did not begin the population count until the year 1790. And all of those records between the 1790 US Census and the 1830 Census were either lost or destroyed somehow. Side note, the Racial Integrity Act of 1924 gave government officials the permission to destroy those records to further hide the truth about who the real African Americans are, furthering the expansion of eugenics by manipulating millions of people into believing a lie. Another example of history that was told to you in reverse is that of the world maps. Over the years, several different maps were created, the majority of them to reflect imperialism and to exacerbate the size and importance of the ruling countries.
The Mercator projection has fostered European imperialist attitudes for centuries and created an ethnic bias against the Third World.
All world maps in today's history derived from the European traditional Mercator world map of 1569, and all of these maps are royally incorrect.
The map enlarges areas at the poles to create straight lines of constant bearing or geographic direction.
So it makes it easier to cross an ocean.
But yes, it distorts the relative size of nations and continents.
Are you saying the map is wrong?
Oh dear, yes.
They are, in fact, flipped upside down and shown to you in reverse, with the current hemispheres misrepresented, meaning that it distorts the size of objects, or rather continents, and also misplaces the location of a continent's position on purpose.
Here we have Europe drawn considerably larger than South America. When it's 6.9 million square miles, South America is almost double the size of Europe's 3.8 million.
Alaska appears 3 times as large as Mexico, and Mexico is larger by 0.1 million square miles.
Germany appears in the middle of the map. It's in the northernmost quarter of the Earth.
Wait, relative size is one thing, but you're telling me that Germany isn't where we think it is?
Nothing is where you think it is.
Where is it?
I'm glad you asked.
This was done this way to give off the impression that the Western Europeans are superior to other races of people by being above the New World, or rather third world countries.
Salvatore Natoli of the National Council for Social Studies argues, in our society, we unconsciously equate size with importance and even power. In our society, we unconsciously equate size with importance and even power. When third world countries are misrepresented, they're likely to be valueless. When Mercator maps exaggerate the importance of Western civilization, when the top of the map is given to the northern hemisphere, and the bottom is given to the southern, then people will tend to adopt top and bottom attitudes.
But wait, where else could you put the northern hemisphere but on the top? On the bottom? How?
Like this.
This misrepresentation of history and the many ways that it has been reversed has definitely affected our people's mentality, nationality, cultures, heritage, history, and even education. So there's no coincidence that this same one set group of racist people in America wants you to go back to Africa, all while consistently pushing the fictitious agenda into your conscious that Africa is where they immigrated your ancestors from. Because the truth is that they will want your attention on a different area of landmass for a bigger reason. And that reason is so you won't notice that America is truthfully your direct ancestors' mainland, and Africa is actually where their ancestors originally derived from, making them the real African Americans, due to the story being purposely told to you in reverse.
Now, I wanted to play that audio today for a specific point. One of those points I'm going to go into, we went into when we were, I broke down, I guess, while we were talking. And just for a point of clarification, again, I never accept everything that I'm told. Like, it's a lot that I agree with the video, which is why I played it. And there's some things I don't agree with. So it's a lot, again, a lot I do, some I don't. But what I do like about it is the thinking part of it, to make you think. Because the only way we're going to ever get to the bottom of this stuff for real is actually thinking about it. We cannot just, okay, I learned this. Yep, that's what it is. You know, I can't, I don't know. So, and I'll be the first to tell you guys, I don't know, because I don't know. Here at Derek Jones Talks Live, we openly admit that we don't even know when we were born, because somebody had to tell us that shit. Someone had to teach you what your birthday was when you were little. That's how you learned it. So in using critical thinking, I always like to just say, hey, man, Somebody had to tell me when I was born, what the fuck were they told that they passed on to me? Did they investigate it? Because a lot of the things that we're told, and I'm admitting we are, as in myself, we don't have the time sometimes to even investigate it in the world we live in today. That's why it's easy to get scammed. It's not hard for someone to, what? Put up a bullshit site. What did Idris Elba say at the beginning of the stream when I played? It's not hard for people to trick people. Because a lot of times people just want to support shit that they see, hoping that it's genuine. It's the same thing with history. A lot of the times we want to accept this shit because that's what we've been told. We don't know anything else. So Derek Jones Talks Live. That was our little discussion on slavery lies. We're gonna go switch gears in a second, but I like that discussion. I liked it a lot. I like when we start to go at it because we don't know. You know, ultimately we don't know, and ultimately someone might say something that makes more sense than what half of us were thinking. That's what I be hoping and waiting for from these discussions. I just be wanting us to just think, you know, when it comes to what we've been told, because what we've been told always begins with checking the source. Checking the source. That's what we got to do. That's what we got to remember. We're there, though, people. But it's time to switch gears for a second and take our standard 30-second, which has now been turned into 60-second break.
This is the dumbest man in the world. Take a look, everybody. The dumbest man.
And in honor of the dumbest man in the world, for our 60-second break, apparently Michael Edwards is still on his FBI trying to identify and or link certain people as Black identity crisis individuals right now because the FBI are targeting BIC, so I guess that's what he's trying to do in his attempts to rid the world of YouTube competition. This individual, I guess, is YouTube banging. I was gonna go back at him on this, but it's so corny, it's so weak. So I just wanted you guys to hear it. You know, it's pathetic. I'll preface it again by saying it's the worst thing you'll probably hear all day. And that's why it always, whenever I deal with him, and I'm talking Michael Edwards, again, it always starts, you know, like this.
This is the dumbest man in the world. Take a look, everybody. The dumbest man.
And in honor of the dumbest man in the world, ladies and gentlemen, Derek Jones Lives gives you Talks Live. Michael Edwards.
The dirty half dozen apostles of hell. To the left, we've got Shane, the great ape.
Corny.
We've got Lex, Sex Vortex.
Did he just say sex? Disgusting. Damn, Mike Wilkins.
We've got Lex, Sex Vortex.
You hear him?
Next to the right. Then to the right of him, we've got Kev, fresh out of rehab. Oh yes, that picture with that big old dirty gap in your mouth and your wrinkled cheeks looking like Alf. Damn. Boy, you look like you were 16 pounds. But next to Kev.
Hold on.
The great ape.
Okay.
We've got Lex, Sex Vortex.
Was it sass in that? Now I'm gonna ask y'all again. Did y'all hear sass? A little bit of sass in that? Because I had to replay that one more time. Did I just hear this nigga say Lex, sex? That was your insult?
8. We've got Lex, Fex, Vortex next to the right. Then to the right of him, we've got Kev, fresh out of rehab. Oh yes, that picture with that big old dirty gap in your mouth and your wrinkled cheeks looking like Alf.
Coming from a man who hides his face now in the dark, ever since I pointed out those crooked ass dolphin teeth in the bottom of his mouth.
Well, you look like you were 16 pounds. But next to Kev is the Antichrist. I told y'all this girl looked like Petey from the Little Rascals. You hear me? The dog on the Little Rascals.
Okay, again, he's saying that Tawana Allen looks like Petey. The picture he's showing, plus the fact that we've seen her before and we know she looks absolutely nothing like Petey. We also know that this handsome fellow who runs Derek Jones Talks Live looks nothing like any grape ape. What is going on here right now, people? He says Kev Gillz has a giant gap in his mouth. I guess he got it filled because it's not there now. What you guys are experiencing is stage 4 obesity on a live YouTube video. See, when you suffer from obesity in a stage 4 level, you began to see things that are not there. Please excuse him while we continue.
The one, aka Lack of Black. Then to the next level is Dollar, the Oxycontin junkie that chews Oxycontin. Dollar, can you blow a bubble with Oxycontin, my nigga? And last but not least,
you would know.
Don't look at my lip. Izzy, aka Judas.
Don't look at my lip. Again, coming from a man who once I pointed out he is suffering from severe case of obesity, has done every live stream since wearing shades. Yo, Michael Edwards, you're corny. I'm not even going to play the rest of that. You're fucking pathetic. Derek Jones Talks Live. It's time to get ready to switch gears. We will have our 30-second break. I was going to give it on that, but this guy's fucking pathetic, man. We'll do it. We'll do another one, though. You guys might enjoy it.
Damn, you gave me a good idea, bro. Right, man. See, you can see this as a recent conversation. I should have thought of it for New Year. So you can see that this is recent. You know what? Damn, you gave me a good idea, bro.
So like for the New Year, nobody be able to say nothing about Kev, nothing. So like for the New Year, nobody be able to say nothing about Kev, nothing. So like for the New Year, nobody be able to say nothing about Kev, nothing. Like on some real shit, be able to build something to get some young traction back into the community because you need that. Right. You need some young intellectuals with some style, you know. And whatever happened with young fellas, we know how business is. You know how this shit is. Shit go the wrong way. Yeah. Whatever the right way, whatever the case is. But that's the type of quality and star power you need. At least, you know, somebody who believes in themselves to that magnitude.
Right. That's what's up, man. Yo, I'm telling you, Kev, when you see this shit go down, don't get high, nigga, and start banging on my shit.
Derek Jones Talks Live. We are back. Yes, it is time to switch gears. And we are going to switch gears on Brother Sabir Bey. Now, everyone knows that I question the Moors. I openly say I question the Moors. I openly say I have a Morris title. When I came out of ignorance, basically into a world that I didn't hear about from other people, I had to learn about. I had to learn that most of the things that I was told weren't really the way, we were told. So I had to learn that. And I don't know if Sabir, the True Light, I don't know if Sabir Bey is a scam artist or not. I'm not going to go that far to throw that out there and attach that to him. But I know one thing, when I was over there in his chat, man, it smelled kind of scammy. Let's just say that. It smelled a little, it was a hint of scam over there. Because ultimately, I wanted to simply ask questions like I always do. And so being the fact that Sabir Bey is a Moor who is basically prominent in this so-called community of us people who study and get together and converse and go at each other, whatever. Sabir Bey is a known guy in that community. So and when I was coming up and learning about more science and things of that nature, hey, he was like he was always around Taj Tariq Bey, put it that way. And the sister Roz Bey, who I liked a lot. I really liked her a lot. I liked listening to her. She was a very intelligent woman, and I liked the way she explained things. It was very clear. So coming up, he was around, so I heard of him before. I seen him around, So with this guy, I say it's a hint of scam because everything seemed to be directed at paying him for something. And you guys know how I am with that, especially when it's like if I'm paying for something other than if I'm donating, if I'm paying for something, I want to kind of know what the fuck it is I'm getting. Like you kind of if I'm getting something from you and I'm paying you for it, I want to know what it is, what I'm supposed to receive from it, and how I'm going to be benefiting from what I'm paying for. So I went over to the guy's stream when he comes live because I was subbed to his page. So I go over there and I listen, and in my typical fashion, I like to ask questions, So I go over there and I ask questions.
I need new faces. Google the Shape Center in Houston, Texas, and see how big that place is. Watch it out. Man, they have everything in it that you need. He said, anytime you need me, Sabir, I got you.
Hold on, let me start here.
Long Beach, it's still going on. They switched, I forgot to send where they at now. But listen to me, I'm talking about Houston now. Inbox me or email me, I'll give you the address. I don't know it right offhand. I'm trying to stay focused, okay? I'm not sure right offhand because they moved it to another spot. Off Broadway, somewhere like that. Sister Karen that works with me, she facilitates that every week, even if I'm not there. History, law, nationality. What else you want to know?
Now, that response right there was 26 minutes and 13 seconds in. And that was to the question that I asked. The question that I asked Sabir Bey was, what would he be discussing at a paid event? Okay? That's what I asked him. And you heard his response.
Long Beach, it's still going on.
I'll play it again.
They switched, I forgot to send where they at now. But listen to me, I'm talking about Houston now. Inbox me or email me, I'll give you the address. I don't know it right offhand. I'm trying to stay focused, okay? I'm not sure right offhand because they moved it to another spot. Off Broadway, somewhere like that. Sister Karen that works with me, she facilitates that every week, even if I'm not there.
Here we go.
History, law, nationality. What else you?
History, law, nationality. Okay? Remember that. History, law, and nationality.
No. Law, nationality, and even health, whatever the topic. You must be new on here. Obviously, you're not following what I do. The best thing to do is go look at my YouTubes and go to me.
Okay, that's what he said. He's basically talking to me. He doesn't know who he's talking to, obviously, but whatever. Okay, I'm a humble guy. Shit like that doesn't bother me.
It's not being smart. It's being real with y'all.
Nah, it's being nice, nasty. That's what it's called.
We're going to start all of this at the Shape Center. This is what Deloitte said to me. He said, we got to get new faces in there. This is what he told me tonight.
I wonder why.
Need new faces. Google the Shape Center in Houston, Texas, and see how big that place is. Watch it out. Man, they have everything in there that you need. He said, anytime you need me, Sabir, I got you. So we'll be starting, when I come back from the East Coast, I'll be starting classes at the Shape Center. We might do it on a Sunday. It's going to be mad packed, man. Yeah, I know it's Long Beach. Give me a minute. It's where the train is at. I'm sorry. I got to get it later on. It's where the train is at. Okay, excuse me. Off of Pine. So bear with me, okay? In Long Beach. But in Houston, Deloitte said, all I see is the same faces with intellectual masturbation. I said, whoo. This is what the elder said to me.
Powerful. Okay, guys. Coming up, you're about to hear Sabir Bey respond again. Okay? Well, this time, with our red spot, this time, Sabir Bey is asked this question by me. Do you have evidence of the event topics? Okay? Or what he said the event topics were. Do you have evidence of the event topics being applied in real time to the user's benefit, nationality, etc.? Okay? That's what I asked him.
Well, yeah, real time. We're going to go into all that, baby. Yes, downtown Long Beach. Thank you.
Okay? He brushed over it. Said in real time. Yeah. We're going to go over all of that. Okay? At this paid event, allegedly. All right? We got about 20 more seconds. Is it? Or 2 minutes? Okay, no, it might be 2 minutes, but we're going to let it play.
Yes, downtown Long Beach. But in Houston, the Shape Center, the elder said he tired of the same faces. He want new people. I said, I'm going to bring the new people. I'm going to bring the new people. Now, I don't know if my brother Anthony on here or not. If you are, brother Ant, shout out, man. Let me know. So it's going to be powerful. Hell of a team out here in Houston, Texas. Hell of a team. It's going to be sick. You think that this is, imagine taking all these books there.
Now, when he started showing the books, I was asking other questions that he did not answer. And the question that I asked was, are those books that you read, the information that you read from those books, are they synonymous with fact? Are you reading that information and then, forming a conclusion completely off that is fact? Basically, is what I was asking him, and he did not answer that one at all.
No, I didn't. I'm not real. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I don't keep up on any of that stuff. I really don't. A lot of that stuff is feel good stuff.
Oh, really? Facts or feel good stuff.
I'm real rap. It's just y'all don't like it, so what? Y'all can get off. I don't care. I really don't. I'm just being real with you. Don't matter. I'm being Philly next week. Y'all coming to Brooklyn? Brooklyn on the 17th and 18th? Brooklyn on the 17th and 18th, James Smalls, Dr. Kaba, Taj Tariq Bey, and myself. James Smalls, Dr. Kaba, Taj Tariq Bey, and myself. And I think Brother Hannibal is coming too. I believe Brother Hannibal is coming through there also. That's going to be powerful. The first one with James Smalls and Taj Hannibal was bananas. Bananas, standing room only. So imagine all 4 of us or 5 of us in that same room. My brothers, my elders. Gonna be crazy. So I'm gonna try to bring the same thing to Houston when we get everything popping. When we get everything popping, in Houston, I'm going to try to do the same thing while these elders are still with us and bring them to Houston. So class is going to be popping, y'all, in Houston, Texas.
Here we go again, advertising.
Utilize your tools. My elder Deloitte told me, Houston, Deloitte said, all I see is the same faces with intellectual masturbation. I said, don't matter, I'm being Philly next week. Y'all coming to Brooklyn? Brooklyn on the 17th and 18th? Brooklyn on the 17th and 18th, James Smalls, Dr. Kaba, Taj Tariq Bey, and myself. James Smalls, Dr. Kaba, Taj Tariq Bey, and myself. And I think Brother Hannibal is coming too. I believe Brother Hannibal is coming through there also. That's going to be powerful. The first one with James Smalls and Taj Hannibal was bananas. Bananas, standing room only. So imagine all four of us or five of us in that same room. My brothers, my elders. Gonna be crazy. So I'm gonna try to bring the same thing to Houston when we get everything popping. When we get everything popping in Houston, I'm gonna try to do the same thing while these elders are still with us and bring them to Houston. So class is gonna be popping, y'all, in Houston, Texas, but you gotta pay to come in. Utilize your tools. My elder Deloitte told me, if I need anything from the Shape Center, let him know.
Now, again, at the 29:59 mark, another question I asked was about to be addressed right now by Brother Sabir Bey. I asked nationality. Do people whom you have instructed to claim their nationality have any evidence of its real-time application in their day-to-day? Now, you see that these questions are all being based off of what? The very first question was, what would your paid event be about? He said it, history, something, and nationality. Then I asked, do you have evidence of the event topics being applied in real time to the user's benefit, nationality, etc.? Sabir Bey said, yeah, baby, we're going to talk in real time. Yeah, we're going to talk about all of that. Talk about all that where? At the paid event. Now, here we are 2 minutes later. Just 2 minutes later, I ask him, nationality. Do people whom you have instructed to claim their nationality have any evidence of its real-time application in their day-to-day?
Let him know. What people you've claimed nationality. I don't do none of that. I don't do none of that. None of that stuff I do.
None of that stuff I do. I don't do none of that. I don't do none of that. None of that stuff I do. Wait a second here. This is why I told y'all I'm not calling him a scam artist, but there's a hint of scammery or something. There's something afoot with this individual. There's something going on with this guy. Everything I asked you, it's the same way I set up dumbass Michael Edwards when I came to his chat. Fucking stupid, answering the questions, and then it opens up a whole nother can of worms on him. Didn't even know it was me asking you the questions, dummy. This shit is crazy. I asked this man, what would he be talking about at this paid event that he is advertising? I asked him about the topics that he stated. He said nationality as one of the fucking topics. I asked him a specific question directly related to one of the topics that he stated, which was nationality. And when I asked this nigga this shit, this dude has the fucking gall to fucking tell me he don't do that.
That's gonna be powerful. The first one with James Smalls and Todd Hannibal was bananas. Bananas, standing room only. So imagine all 4 of us or 5 of us in that same room. My brothers, my elders. Gonna be crazy. So I'm gonna try to bring the same thing to Houston when we get everything popping. When we get everything popping in Houston, I'm gonna try to do the same thing while these elders are still with us and bring them to Houston. So class is gonna be popping, y'all, in Houston, Texas, but you gotta pay to come in.
Are you going to provide receipts to these people? And can any of these people get their money back? If anything if the information that you're providing at these classes, these people start going out in the world and applying this shit in real time to their everyday life, and they're starting to have problems and hiccups with the local government because anything that you do that is not in accordance with them will automatically get their attention. So, ergo, you got these people on your back and they're in your face. This is the third. If we learn from you, and I'm not saying ultimately responsible for all human affairs on Earth, but what I'm telling you, if I come somewhere and you're giving me a fucking class on fixing a refrigerator and I pay you for this shit, I want to know how to fix a fucking refrigerator when I'm done. And if I cannot fix a refrigerator due to what you have taught me being completely ineffective in my real-time application and or attempt of fixing a refrigerator, it all goes haywire. I should be able to get my money back. That's all I'm saying.
Utilize your tools. My elder Deloitte told me, if I need anything from the Shape Center, let him know. Let him know. Or people you've claimed nationality. I don't do none of that. I don't do none of that. None of that stuff I do. Don't ask me anything about claiming none of that. I tell people.
You just don't ask you about none of that? Nigga, you just said you doing a whole motherfucking paid event about the shit. Are you serious, man? Are you serious, man? You just fucking... Let me get to this other part of the audio, guys, so we can get off of this weird nigga. Because, Sabir, you looking real weird right now, G.
Question. He said, look at the name. He said, look at the name. He said, why is it a capital letter? I want y'all to pull all your IDs out your pocket.
Here we go. Now, mind you, this shit's been spewing around for the last 20 years. He's about to do an event about the same shit that's been spewing around for 20 years that he doesn't have any fucking evidence of. He's trying to act like he's not talking about it while talking about it. I don't do that type of stuff. But you're talking about the all caps. You're talking about nationality with the all caps. Nigga, we know what you're talking about. You're peddling and you're pushing that status correction shit. That's what you're doing. And whenever I see that, I ask the question, well, do you have facts and evidence of this being applied in real time and or being effective in any way? It's just a question. And every time I ask these individuals these questions, this is what I get. Like the answer you just, I don't know, we don't talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. Bitch, you just told me, nigga, that you about to have a whole event about it when I asked you. That's when you thought I was a dumbass sheeple who was just asking your ass when I could do something so I could. I even told this nigga, yo, if you, I wrote in his chat, listen, G, if you got a Patreon, I'll donate to your Patreon or some sort of something you're trying to do, I'll donate to, but I'm not about to pay you to listen to you talk. The fuck are you talking about? A consultation and all of this. What are you talking about? I'm not paying you money to listen to you talk.
Pull all your ID out your pocket. Pull out your credit cards. Pull out your social cards. Pull out your bills. I give y'all time. Pull out all your bills. And I'm going to walk y'all to something. Go look at all your documents right now. I'm going to tell you this. Listen. He said, why is the name capitalized? He said, why is the name Silence Do Good is capitalized? Y'all can Google that. Google it. Look up his name. A proper noun is capital S, small I, L, E, N, C, capital D, O, G, O, O, D. Right? That's proper. Right? That's proper language, right? But I'm going to show y'all something. I'm going to show you something. Bear with me. And I want y'all to look this up. Everybody, I said this on the radio years ago. One is capital letters. Exactly. All your mail, all your credit cards going to be in all caps. It's not your name. It's a fictitious name. Wait a minute.
So is that or is that not dealing in nationality? You mean to tell me the all caps and the fictitious name, it has nothing to do with nationality, Sabir Bey? It has nothing to do with nationality, Sabir Bey. But you're going to turn around when you asked a question about nationality.
Deloitte told me if I need anything from the Shape Center, let him know.
When confronted about nationality, Sabir Bey says,
people you've claimed nationality. I don't do none of that. I don't do none of that. None of that.
Exactly. Derek Jones Talks Live. We will get ready to take another 30-second break. Then we're going to transition into the last part of the show. Yes. Get ready, everyone, for the last part of the show. We will be going into a McHustler, one who has been spotted a long time ago now as a fraud, or perceived now as a fraud. We want to know what happened to Kev's page. On my honor as a man and my word, I didn't do it. Maybe it was all the Kanika Kev moments. Who knows? But we're going to go over that. And we're going to listen to some honorary Kev Gillz just because, you know, we think it's a shame over here that someone would take his Mick page away. But the question still looms. Was it YouTube? Or did McDonald's finally catch wind of too much power streaming in the morning and decided to investigate and find out people were running whole live streams off the local McDonald's customer friendly Wi-Fi? We also going to touch on, before we actually close the live stream out, guys, we're actually going to touch on Sinetta and his bloating about having some sort of evidence to check us with, that he's something about the Apollo and he's booked and he's this, that, and the third. You know, he showed something, but we don't know what the fuck that something was. I don't think anybody could read it. If you read it and if you saw it and you read it, what Sinetta put up there, please tell us what you read, because I couldn't see shit. Which means this nigga was showing us something while not showing us shit. So Derek Jones Talks Live. We're having fun right now, I guess, guys. We started off with a serious topic. We went back on with something a little more, I don't want to say less serious, because that's kind of what we do here. We try to identify people who are genuine in this community of ours and try to identify people who really mean what they say. Like, if you like Tommy Sotomayor, he says what he says. That's what the fuck he said. I'm glad he does that. I'm glad he's outlandish like that. The worst thing Tommy Sotomayor could be for our community is a person who's running around hanging with Sonetta, talking at the lectures about Egypt and shit like that, because then he'll just be looped right the fuck in with everybody else, and we'll be following him, and the whole time he really feels the way he feels. So it's better to actually have these individuals called out. It's better to have these individuals be recognized for who and what the fuck they are, man, and stop moving on and acting like this shit is not happening. That's not going to solve the problem, acting like it's not happening. There's no way in hell that that's going to be a solution, period. So we're going to take the standard break. It's going to be no less than 30 seconds, people. I pretty much guarantee that this time. This time I'll leave you with something to listen to instead of Michael Edwards.
The shaman and the Wu-Tang is very dangerous.
It's the ODB, kid. Once again, coming through your area. And I'm gonna tell you one time, you gonna love it. Yeah, I had to get the money, said it wasn't a choice. Die hard on the bars, ladies loving the voice. Morphine flow, numbing your joints. Bomb a nigga like he number 81 from Detroit. Zombie like World War Z, antidote to your virus. Your highness, the world's on me. Capital G, cool as the dude from Dos Equis. So deadly, I'll make it rain, I snow heavy. Sick made Nick Cage, how I rock with fire. Forever with bars, sorta like a life, but with the son of anarchy. I be breaking bad, walking dead, daydreaming and making the band dancing with the stars. American Idol, me the mentalist with the big bang. Still number one, 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 still number one. Yeah. The most duplicated, anticipated, validated.
Welcome back. Now, switching gears, closing this out. What happened to Kev Gillz page? Now, through the grapevine, these YouTube campfires, if you will, certain information gets passed around, certain information circulates around, whether you want to hear this shit or you don't want to hear this shit. Okay? So, what do we actually go through here with this individual? Just last week, he was caught in some damaging audio yet again. After that wasn't. We have something a little more different this time, guys. Like, before we go down certain paths with this individual, we go down the path of his real hate for young Pharaoh. We go down the path of his flip-flopping on the Hassan Campbell issue. We also have a Kanika Kev. But I didn't know that we had a DL Kev. Now, before we go too far, we need to change that title to Mick DL Kev.
That's why Straight's not always got his eyes on me, little faggot ass nigga. Always got his eyes. I bet Straight's not always want a nigga. He gon' see what niggas in the hood.
Wow. Now, if If you think your ears heard something weird, I assure you, your ears heard what they needed to hear. We'll continue.
That's why stress not always got his eyes on you know, faggot nigga. Always got his eyes. I bet you stress not always want a nigga with a big old booty. You ever see one of these in the hood that got a big booty?
Was it Straight Drop who flagged you away, Kev, because you were talking about his butt? One will never know. We have more audio that maybe this is what got Kev flagged.
You ain't shit. Young Pharaoh, you ain't shit. Pharaoh, you can't black power nothing, bro. Everything you teaching is from European white authors and shit, bro. Everything you posting online.
Was this? Hold on, guys. I'm getting calls everywhere.
It's Photoshop, bro. And you don't think we can see that shit? You should have kept that shit local and stayed up in your little gymnasium, bro. Because now I'm gonna kill somebody. Young Pharaoh did the whole commentary with no shirt on. Let you know he's appealing to only these dumb ass black women who's sitting up there in his comments talking about, yeah, just y'all take it off. That's who they're appealing to. Black people. Young Pharaoh can't make you no money. Young Pharaoh can't teach you about no business, no real power. Because if you go and Young Pharaoh, somebody will beat the shit out of you, bro. You film that shit, be like World Star. You remember?
Was it that? Did Young Pharaoh's fans catch hold of this and hear how this grown man said that Young Pharaoh's gonna get beat up on World Star? Somebody's gonna catch his little ass and beat him up on World Star. Was that what it was? Maybe Young Pharaoh's fans heard it and flagged you away. One will never know. You say so much. Did the Walking McDead finally come alive?
Don't get high and bang on me, nigga. Because that's what y'all asses be doing. I'm telling you, you gonna wish you was a part of it.
With your shit, that shit that you doing right, like yeah, I ain't fucking with that shit. That's your shit.
Yeah, man. Because that nigga Lame TV, he already made a video.
Like I'm a talk more in that and let the people know on this end. Like that's what you do.
Yeah.
Like I ain't nobody worried about that. You ain't scamming nobody. So,
hell no.
I this is the BD halfway, and we can put on the great performance and move on.
Put on a great performance and move on. Is it that did the Walking McDead come alive and realize that you were really laughing at them all this time? One will never know. But what we do know is someone somewhere got a little tired of listening to your shit. So we're going to go to the chat before we close this stream out. Who thinks that it was YouTube? And who thinks that it was McDonald's? Now, the other side of this argument here is that McDonald's the other side of this argument is that McDonald's caught wind of extra usage during the 101 on whatever the fuck sessions. They were wondering why the stream was so high when the store was virtually empty. Did someone at corporate uncover someone streaming? They said the internet that's being used at this time of day, it's as if someone is streaming. Was that what did it? Derek Jones Talks Live. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It has been fun. In honor of Michael Edwards as we go out of the door. This is for you, Mike. Oh, again, Shane TV 2. Also, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Check the videos out over there. And Dizzy Cochran as well. Please don't forget about Brother Dizzy. A lot of times people forget about Brother Dizzy. He's got things that he's doing over there. He's trying to make moves over there. So I guess make it happen for him, man. A lot of times, you know, people have a hard time pushing their narrative. So I decided to assist him, so to speak. So Derek Jones Talks Live. Peace. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is for you, Mike. Peace.
This is the dumbest man in the world. Take a look, everybody. The dumbest man.